In the immortal words of God Bluth, I made a huge mistake in this episode of Adventures in Shiny Hunting. Before we get started on today's episode, I did want to mention, I think I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. You are going to see some kind of back and forth between older content and newer content for this series. Obviously, with the Indigo Disc having recently released, lately I've been focusing a lot of my shiny hunting in the terrarium and the Indigo Disc, but I still have a lot of shiny hunting content back when I was doing Pokemon Scarlet and even some earlier Pokemon Violet hunts that I haven't posted yet. So I'm going to be releasing older videos, possibly featuring some shinies that you might have already seen at least glimpses of in the more recent ones here. So just bear with me on that. I mean, you can consider them spoilers if you want. I mean, it's just showing off shinies, so it's not that big of a spoiler. But yeah, you'll see some stuff coming, including one video that I'm working on still that's going to take a while. Is I'm trying to shiny hunt every single starter. And when I say every single starter, that also includes I'm going to have to Masuda breed all of the Gen 9 starters, which I haven't even started on yet. So that's going to take a bit. So yeah, you're going to see some shiny starters that you haven't seen me catch. That's because those are being saved for that video, which is probably a ways down the road. So just bear with me on that. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump back into the terrarium where I do my very first shiny hunt. Well, actually, this one wasn't even a shiny hunt. I was actually doing a blueberry point hunt with some friends of mine and just happened to run into a shiny.
So I was in the polar biome, grinding out some BP with a few friends of mine, you know, just knocking out Pokemon, trying to get one of those knockout however many for some BP missions. And happened to come across a purple Lapras, my second purple Lapras. Pretty awesome. I actually kept both since this one was a male, so hey, I'll take it.
So next, I decided to fly back to Paldaea, mostly because I needed to sell some stuff and I needed to get some more sandwich ingredients because, I mean, you always run out of those. And unfortunately, the Blueberry Academy doesn't have a great selection, so you have to go back to Paldaea in order to get the sandwich ingredients you need. But while I was there, I ran into something that I wasn't really expecting.
So I accidentally went to the front entrance of Mesagoza, and while I was there, I just randomly found a green Hoppip. Wasn't expecting it, wasn't even planning on shiny hunting, but there he was, so I caught him.
Since I was back in Paldaea, I figured I'd take a look and see if there were any outbreaks that I particularly wanted to hunt. And I happened to find a Clodsire outbreak. Now, I already have a shiny Quagsire, but I needed its Paldean counterpart. So I headed over there and took a look for the shiny Clodboy.
So I was at a Clodsire outbreak, and there were all kinds of these big, chunky, silly-looking fishes out there, and there was one that was looking a little purple, so of course I took my photo and ended up catching it. So yay, shiny Clodsire.
Next, I headed back to the terrarium and decided to do a little grinding and see what I could get outbreaks for and if there were any cool Pokemon I didn't have. So I happened to find a Goer Outbreak. That one was interesting. Here's what I found.
Golurk is an interesting shiny because it's kind of hard to tell. It basically just has a slightly more grayscale color scheme, and then the lights on it are green. So it was pretty tough to see which one of these looked a little different. Then I noticed that one, and it was pretty obvious that that one was definitely green and a little darker in color. But yeah, shiny Golurk, pretty awesome.
So for the next clip, I was hunting a starter. Now again, I know I already mentioned this several times, but I'm doing a separate video on my actual starter hunting adventures. But I'll at least talk about it because that helps with the context of this next shiny. So there's one pond in the savanna biome where you can find Totodile. There's only one pond. And the problem is, because Totodile is a pure water type, if you use a water type sandwich, you're going to find other Pokemon. So I had a few times where I used a water type sandwich to hunt a different starter. So I figured, you know what? Let's go to Totodile Pond and see if I can find one. So I did, and well, here's what happened.
So I was at good old Totodile Pond looking for a shiny Totodile to add to my starter collection. And of course, there's also Dewpider and Bruxus who spawn in this pond. And while I was wandering around, I noticed in the background, one of the Dewpider didn't look yellow. So I ran up to it, and sure enough, it was purple. So I caught myself a shiny purple Dewpider. I'll take it. I didn't have one.
Alright, so here is the big story of this episode. So I was going through the map and I found an Alolan Muk Outbreak, which I thought was a pretty cool one because Alolan Grimer is unique because it basically takes on the original color scheme of regular Cantonian Grimer in its shiny. And I thought that was kind of cool. So I decided to go hunt for an Alolan Muk. Now, if you don't know, Alolan Muk, basically the main difference is instead of the primary color of its rainbow color scheme being green, it's purple. But it still has the rainbow color scheme and still moves all over the place. So I decided to go to the Alolan Muk Outbreak, and I just started knocking out a few, trying to get this going, and well, here's what happened.
So I found the shiny Alolan Muk Outbreak on the beach and decided to go knock out a few. So I knocked out like 3 or 4. Went back to reset them, and there he was, right there. I think I only knocked out maybe 5. It was a very, very quick shiny. But hey, I'll take it.
Now, normally this is where that story would end. I would throw my ball, I would catch it, bada bing, bada boom, I'd have a shiny Alolan Muk, right? Wrong. Here's where I made the mistake. As you saw in the clip, now granted, I do typically remove the clip of me actually saving because it's not exciting and it's not necessary for the video. But I didn't save this time. And I didn't realize until I encountered the Alolan Muk that it knows explosion. So I threw a quick ball, it didn't catch. Alolan Muk exploded. I didn't save, so bye-bye Alolan Muk. Sad face. Will I get my revenge, though? You'll have to see later on in the video. But anyway, I was still a little dejected after losing out on my Alolan Muk, so I did some more resetting and found another Alolan Muk Outbreak. Cool. So I decided to start shiny hunting for that, and at the end, when I knocked out 60, I popped a poison sandwich to try to boost my odds. Now, Alolan Muk is mostly what spawns because it is an outbreak, but every now and again you'll get some other poison types, and well, that's what happened here.
So of course I was in the middle of trying to find my second shiny Alolan Muk, and I used the poison sandwich. So I wandered around and figured, you know what, with so many Muk around, you gotta find one with a poison sandwich, right? Well, it was a little tough to see because it was nighttime, so I was wandering around, and then I noticed one that was pretty obvious to see, and that was a green Vileplume.
So after already catching a shiny that wasn't Alolan Muk, I went back to cycling around, resetting, and eventually I came across my reclaim. And this time, I showed you everything that I did. Here's how that played out.
So after that first shiny Alolan Muk exploded in my face, I didn't take any chances. So I immediately saved as soon as I found the shiny. As you see, I normally cut that out of videos, but I kept it here because I needed proof. I encountered it, it's shiny. Threw a quick ball. Like so. It was a crit capture. And shiny Alolan Muk was mine.
So after catching and reclaiming a shiny that explodes, which is of course not an easy thing to deal with, I decided to go after one of the single hardest Pokemon in all of Pokemon to catch, and that is the Beldum line. So Metagross and all of its pre-evolutions has a crazy low catch rate. So low, in fact, that it's almost not even worth trying to catch it in a normal Pokeball unless you want to take a long time in order to catch it. But shiny Metagross is really, really cool looking, and I've never had one, so naturally I had to go find it. And I found out through a video a spot in the Chargestone Cave where if you stand in the right spot, you can actually find a bunch of Beldum that spawn, rather than going outside and, you know, having the lighting kind of mess up your view. So I did that, and here's what happened.
So I found a spot in the Chargestone Cave in the upper levels where you could get a bunch of Beldum to spawn, and I certainly able to see this silver one was a little higher than I was able to throw the ball at, so I accidentally encountered this normal Beldum, which did give me some blueberry points, but that was not what I was doing. So I quickly ran away in hopes that the shiny didn't despawn. Thankfully, it didn't, and I was able to encounter it because it decided to move higher up on the rock. So there we go.
We're going to wrap up this episode with a random shiny. So I was at an outbreak. I think it might have been the Beldum. I don't remember which outbreak it was, but I was at an outbreak. I popped the school lunch, which gives you shiny power 1 for all types, so you never know what you're going to find. So after I caught the shiny I was going after, it might have been a starter, I don't remember, I decided to just roam around and see if I could come across any random shinies, and, well, here's how that turned out.
Alright, so last but certainly not least, I was wandering the Savannah biome. I still had a sandwich that gave me encounter power for everything, and shiny power for everything, so I figured I'd just wander around aimlessly and see if there was any shinies that would show up. So I was over by one of the plaza areas, I believe it was the Savannah Plaza or one of the rest areas, and I happened to find a red Vibrava. So there's a shiny.
That is going to do it for this episode of Adventures in Shiny Hunting. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're enjoying all the new content that's been coming out on the channel. I'm really trying to get kind of back into the swing of things. It's a little tough because I do work a lot at my new job, but I'm trying to find some time to at least get a few videos out. So I hope you all enjoy it, and I'm going to try to start getting some new series out. In addition to eventually, when things get a little more settled, more Bargain Game Hunter episodes. So be on the lookout for that. I know a lot of people, that's why they came to this channel, as Bargain Game Hunter, and I apologize that I haven't really been able to release a lot of those just because of a few factors. But I'll try to get them out, hopefully not too long. Yeah, but hopefully you enjoy this content in the meantime. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Adventures in Shiny Hunting. Bye-bye.